Just bear with me 1 second. The markets will open in approximately 4 minutes, so we have a little bit of time. 1 second. Just need to start the I also run a no image, but an audio stream that has no latency. I'm just going to get that started as well. There we go. And Telegram is up and running as well. Okay. So this is video number 114. And yeah, I had you'll see on my account balance here that it has dropped by about quite a lot, 5,000 at its best. Have quite an issue with the platform yesterday during the sell-off in the Nasdaq. I'll see if I can show you what it was that happened. It's probably best if I show you this. So this is a snapshot from the time, and as you can see, I was significantly in profit, having aggressively added to my winning positions all the way down. 88, 92, 80, 73, 68, 59, 54, 46, 42, 38, 35, 31, and all of this would be absolutely marvelous. And I posted this at the time going, this is where I want to get out at 9:10, which was, if I can show you here on a 15-minute chart, which was about here. In fact, why don't I show you on a 5-minute chart? So 15:10 was about here, this candle here. And I was unable to exit. Actually, it must have been later because 19:10 is down here. Let me just see, when did I post this? Yes, it was down here. Because I posted it in Telegram, and as you can see, my knack for picking a low, it was really good. The low was actually 1900. But the platform had frozen, and I couldn't get out. And then it just went from bad to worse, and this position here, well, all of a sudden it went from being very profitable to being very unprofitable. Obviously, I disputed, and I could document that. I could document that there was no ability because I videoed it. But anyway, that's, don't want to make a bigger story out of it than it is. I just but this, I had lost $700-800 pounds in the Dow, And why don't I just show you this as well? Because I just want there to be complete transparency. But so here were the losses in the Dow. As you can see here, the account lost 100 and so what's that? 280, 400, 811. So it lost 900 pounds in the Dow. But this position here where I wanted to get out, this position here was worth 2,400 pounds. And I did claim that, but I couldn't post that, so I've had to take that money out of my account because I was unable to post this many trades in Telegram because it was just frantic. The market, as you can see, was moving fast here. It was really moving, especially here, from when it went above prior bar high here in a downtrend, and that's where I got really aggressive on the shorting side. I had already been short, but I was not able to post all of this in Telegram. And as a result of it, I felt that it wasn't fair that I posted that profit to my account, so I withdrew it. So that, but even so, there were people that were complaining, and I want to say, rightly so, that I wasn't able to post. However, with that many positions in my defense, I was actually so preoccupied with trying to figure out how the hell do I get out of these 20 positions. So yeah, I'm not overly proud of yesterday. I think this was absolutely exquisite trading, like you have rarely seen it before, with just exemplary adding to winning trades. And unfortunately, it didn't quite have the fairy tale ending as I had hoped. Anyway, the markets are open, so let's focus on that. But I just wanted to clear up any, shall we say, because it's not really how I want to be seen on YouTube, is that I don't look after you. Just excuse me for 10 seconds. If I could just address one thing I think is relevant, and that is this issue that I had here. What I have asked the broker, ICTD, I have asked them, can we address how or why did this happen? Does it have anything to do with the software that I have developed that sits on top? Because if that's the case, then obviously that's something I need to address. And what concerns me a little bit is that, for example, my friend Karaoke Andy, who was also engaged in this frantic selling here, and he didn't experience any issues. And I think we have sort of roughly the same system set up, computer-wise, the same internet connection. And so I don't know whether it was just because I had overloaded the system with orders, and as you can see, there's a lot of lines, and I don't know if all of that data just swamped my, what do you guys call it, the cache? Anyway, So there is an ongoing investigation now into how did this happen. But literally, the platform was just not, the prices weren't moving. And then every now and then, some data would tick through. Okay. Let's enable the candle numbers. And then let's look at where so we have a minor gap up in the Dow Jones index. The first bar is positive. And over here in the Nasdaq, we also have a more pronounced gap up, and the first bar is also positive. The overnight range, see, this is where I'm thinking that there's a bug here. If the developer is look how I have enabled the overnight range, but it's not showing, and then it is showing. So I don't understand why sometimes it does and sometimes it does not. So if you can look at that, that would be great. But here's the overnight range, at least how I have roughly defined it in the Nasdaq. And we're currently sat above the overnight range high. But we are gap up within the context of previous day's range. And in the Dow Jones index, we are gap up, but still within the context of the previous day's range. My next research project for you to receive from me is gaps within the context of gap outside of the previous day's range and gaps inside the previous day's range. And what I mean by that is that how I would trade a gap fill depends on whether the gap takes place, say in this case, say it took place in the Dow above yesterday's high or below yesterday's low, in which case I would trade it differently to how I would trade this. And I will look forward to actually putting substantiated with data analysis. It seems much more calm, open. Normally I would be interested in being buyer below the candle of previous low, but I think there will be an opportunity to be a buyer in the Dow at 41,427. So it just went 423, so please stand by. I'm sure I'll get another opportunity. So I'm a buyer here in the Dow. I'm buying below candle number 1. Obviously that stop loss is ridiculously big, so I'm gonna have to amend that. And I think the similar opportunity is present in the Nasdaq, so please stand by. So I've attempted to be a buyer below 46. I didn't quite get the fill I wanted in the Nasdaq. The Dow is actually, it does look like the Dow is headed for that gap fill now, doesn't it? Do you know what? I think I want to try and optimize the stop loss in the Dow, so that if it does come back down to, I bought at 32, that if I see it goes below candle number 3 again, so I think the Dow position, the one I like the least with the price action, I think I'm going to take a loss in the Dow. Closed Dow early for -12. I like the look of Nasdaq better. Where's my stop loss? It doesn't have to be all the way down here. Honestly, it doesn't. So I'm going to move the stop loss to break even. It's a bit early to move stop loss to break even. I'm mindful of that. The reason why I decided to get out of my Dow, I entered the Dow at 32 and I got out at 20, was because I felt that the retracement below bar number 1 was deeper, and I think that the gap fill is probably more likely now than us seeing a rally up from here. So we got now a aggressive school run setting up, both on the long side and the short side. If I'm not stopped out, I could see us taking a long position above 72. But if we are stopped out, then I'll wait for school run. So far, it seems like a good decision to have exited the Dow. But over the last 6 bars, we are well and truly contained within the range. Dow is breaking lower now, and a gap fill seems likely. And in the meantime, I have been stopped out of the Nasdaq for 0. That was always going to be a risk when you are within a trading range and your stop loss is inside the trading range. But I'm actually happy with just sitting on the sidelines for a few minutes and waiting for the second 15-minute candle to materialize. We currently only have one. I don't know if I mentioned this. I don't think I did in the beginning. I was so busy trying to explain what happened yesterday. But this is going to be a shorter session for me. For some personal reasons, I need to go and attend a meeting. So we got a gap fill for all intents and purposes in the Dow index. Now I feel good about the decision to having exited. On the come on. On the 5-minute chart, we have a first bar positive. So if this was a FTSE, we would sell short below. I'm just wondering if we actually need to sell short the Nasdaq now and bet on a gap fill here as well. As you can see, we have a gap fill now in the Dow. The problem that I found myself in yesterday, if I can cast your mind back to it, the problem that I had when the Nasdaq opened yesterday was the range-bound nature, but within the context of a downtrend, meaning there was big moves down, then there were overlap bars, then push down, but big overlap, and push down, and big overlap. And that caused considerable distress to my positions. It feels as if that is exactly what we are witnessing here as well. Sergio that has just sent me this message about the CPU lock. I would forward your comments. If you don't mind. So I think I want to be selling short the Dow above 63. Please stand by. The high here was 59. I want to sell short up here as close to 59 as possible. Could also see myself selling short the Nasdaq at 69. Let's see what we're going to get. We got a school run coming up in a few seconds. No, 3 minutes, sorry. possibility that we're going to get a fill now. Come on. Okay, so filled in a short in the Nasdaq at 70. And also a short in the Dow. And we're coming up to the second 15-minute candle now. Which would actually trigger a long signal in the Dow at 62. Interesting. So candle number 2 has a high of 462. I'm wondering if I should just close that in anticipation of going long the Dow above 62. In the Nasdaq, the net school run dictates a long at 182. We're currently trading at 179. So as you can see, I have a little bit of a cross currents here. School run has now triggered on both. Just gonna keep calm for a little bit. So I've find myself in a little cross current, an idea of selling short above a prior bar high here against a breakout long on the school run. School run is working in the Nasdaq, but even Nasdaq is still somewhat contained, and sellers are still trying to squeeze the market back in to the low end of the range. So we got a little bit of back and forth now. Okay, so both of them are a little bit in profit now. I'm doubling up on my Dow here. Alright, so that wasn't to be. I think I'll have a stop loss on both at 480. I think I'm more inclined to close my Nasdaq and go long. I have a reverse position here. I'll do that now. I have to double click, sorry. So I'm long the Nasdaq, closed. And in the Dow I have a stop loss at 480 on both. I think I'll add to my long position in the Nasdaq. So I've been stopped out of the DAO. My add-on lost. DAO has a technical long position at 462, which is what conflicted me. And I'm wondering if I can attempt to get a fill here. I'll do a full screenshot when I... So the school run long in the DAO is at 462. I can buy it here at 485. Fill to 483. Let's see if we can get up to the high of the day. So I'm now school run long on both. With one add-on. In the Nasdaq. Both indices are retreating into the trading range, not ready to break out, it would seem. And is costing me. So far this is not working very well. Hmm. We're very much in the trading range. Well, in the low end of the trading range. Hopefully not too much lower. Seems like my original idea was much better. Flipping from long to short. Fuck. I'm getting myself a bloodbath in the trading range, I'm afraid. I should have been stopped out on the other Nasdaq. Sorry. Don't know why the stop loss is at 48. It should actually be 35. So I'll close it here at 26. So Nasdaq is now issuing a sell signal on school run. I am taking that. And the Dow is also stopped out of the Dow and has also issued a school run. I'm going to take that. Feels like deja vu all over this. So we're trading down to the low end of the range. We're going to see a gap fill now. Well, we got the gap fill in the Dow. I'm going to add to my Nasdaq here. I'm adding to the Dow. I'm going to close my Dow. I'm going to close my Nasdaq. Let me just post status. I just thought that the Dow could find some support down here. We're probably going to go actually down to the bottom end of the range. Maybe I'm just out a little bit early here. Anyway, I think that's me done. It wasn't particularly good trading, but I certainly made up for it in the last bit. So have a lovely weekend. And yeah, I'm going to post... I think I'm going to go short again. Does look like we're going to have another push down. Right, well, either way, I think this is me done for the streaming for today and this week. I'll post this with the open trades. I haven't put a stop loss in yet. Just going to see how this goes. So I'm tired now, and yeah, thanks a lot for being here this weekend. And I'm going to post in Telegram the breakdown of the trades this afternoon. I've been streaming an hour, a little more than I thought I would, but that's how it goes sometimes. Have a lovely weekend, and thank you so much for being here. All the very best.